Hello, my name is Jeremy, this is Red Means Recording, and today we're going to talk about the Make Noise Soundhack Morphagene. Morphagene has been out for quite a while, and it's been one of the modules that I've always wanted in a Eurorack system, even before I got into Eurorack, because I absolutely love granular processing, and that's one of the things that the Morphagene excels at. It's kind of a tape deck, it's kind of a granular processor, but it's kind of all magic. There are a few ways to adjust the sound that's being played back, which are WAV files that you can either record into it or prepare on your computer. And we're going to show both of those. You can change the speed and direction. You can change the point at which a current slice or splice is playing from. You can move through the splices linearly or non-linearly, depending on how you patch it. And you can change the gene size or granular size and overlap of those little pieces of audio that it's playing back. It is almost criminally easy to make the kind of ambient that I love with the Morphagene, but it's actually able to do some other really cool rhythmic stuff as well. I've only really scratched the surface, but I'm going to show you what I've learned and how I have been using it in my rack to make various types of music. In this patch, all the little glittery stuff is coming from Morphagene. The rest of the synths that you hear are from the other synths I have in my rack. There's some delay and reverb coming from ZOIA, and a little bit of radio voice coming from the radio music module. So let's hear another example. Immediately after getting Morphagene, I was like, holy crap, I know lots of stuff I want to put on this and slice up. And one of them was a very famous a cappella from one of my favorite songs. Morphagene really loves modulation, so dedicating some modulation stuff to it is going to be a really good experience for you once you start playing with it. Okay, one more demo, and then we will talk about how this thing works. I immediately went and grabbed a bunch of like ambient guitar and harp MP3s and marked them up, set slice points, and loaded into Morphagene because I knew it was going to be beautiful, and it did not disappoint. I don't know about you, but I am a gigantic sucker for reversed sounds, and because the Morphagene has basically a vari-speed tape control, you're able to slip your sounds around from forward to reverse very easily. I'm just gonna let this play out, and then we'll check in with how Morphagene works. Check the video description if you want to jump forward. Now that you've indulged me in playing a bunch of music for you, we're going to talk about how to get your sounds into Morphagene, starting off with using a computer to prepare samples. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, so these are some chords from Contact that I've just put in Ableton. I think they're from Alicia's keys. So I'm going to export this as a WAV file and bring it into Audition. Now I'm going to set markers in Audition to each one of the chords, and these are going to be my splice points when I bring this into Morphagene. You can set these wherever you want. I'm going to copy this to the Morphagene card and name it with the proper naming convention, so check the manual for how that works. Next, put the card back into Morphagene and hold down the Shift button to have it load the new contents. So this is a previous reel. This is the reel from the song that you just heard. We're going to use the Organize knob to switch to the chords that we just loaded on there. And then we're going to exit reel mode. So now we want to feed this a gate signal into the play input so that it will play to a clock. This is one way of triggering Morphagene. The length of the gate you send it will be the length that it plays back. So PAMS is great for this because you can set a length for the gate. By plugging in a gate into the shift input, we will now linearly move through the splices, so we get our chord progression back. The timing for your playback and shifting through the different splices does not have to be the same timing. You can get yourself really interesting rhythms by using different gates to shift through the different slices and play at the same time. Let's patch an LFO into the slide function and turn up the attenuator for the input. So this will now slide through each one of those chords in time, which is going to give us a sort of stuttery effect. Those are those genes or grains that Morphagene creates. And you can change the grain size. Morph is going to smear between the grains and overlap them. When you clock Morphagene, the gene size becomes synced, and you can get rhythmic stuff from the genes, which is really cool. especially when you start to modulate the gene size. In this case, I'm using a square wave LFO to swap between two different timings. Alright, so I've turned the varispeed control to the left, which not only changes the pitch, but also changes the direction of the playback. And like I said, I'm a sucker for reverse sound, so this is pretty damn cool. By sending modulation to the varispeed, you can get everything from crazy tape stop effects to like record scratching sounds. It's wild. Morphagene loves modulation, and it's really fun to experiment with. Alright, let's bring in some drums and try to make something out of this, shall we? So now let's record into Morphagene from my system. This is the patch that we're going to sample into Morphagene. I've split the signal off so that part of it goes into Morphagene and part of it goes out to my main effects. So first I'm going to get auto level by holding down this button combination, which is going to set the level for the incoming signal. I'm clocked, so the record will clock to tempo. Now I'm recording. Now shift is blinking to tell me that it's recorded. So now I'm going to stop the rest of the Eurorack system playing and turn the SOS knob to the right so all we're hearing is Morphagene. Hear that splice playing back. Let's clock playback. Add a little metronome. Adjust our playback gate a little slower, and then we have our sample. So now we need to add some splice points by hitting the splice button. So now it's only going to play back the current splice until I tell it to move through those splices by putting something into the shift input. And now, we just adjust to taste and play around. Okay, so I just brought the rest of the Eurorack system back in, so it's playing the sequence we sampled and Morphagene is playing. I'm going to contain this, don't worry. Give me a second. Let's add some drums and see what we can get out of this. There we go. If I wanted to, I could continue adding splices to this particular reel up to 2 minutes and 45 seconds, I think. I could also add more splice points if I wanted to. love this thing. All right, one more demo and we'll finish this up. In this patch, I have basically a sidechain going into the Morphagene's, sorry about that. I have a sidechain going into the Morphagene's volume and creating a sidechain pumping effect, which will make more sense once the beat comes in here in a second. I'm using all the techniques we already went over to move through the sound and manipulate it. Like any tool that can do a lot, Morphagene is going to be best when you prepare stuff for it with intent, or just have a really good grasp of how the controls work. This is the ADE32 from Abstract Data that is sending out multiple modulation signals, including the sidechain envelope to the Morphagene. I love the tape effect and use it as a sort of tape stop effect constantly. I'd love to hear your tips and tricks for Morphagene in the comments. I know I have a lot to learn still, so let me know how you're using it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to upload all the audio from these jams to Patreon. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording, and I hope you have a wonderful day.